Good morning. It's Patrick here with your daily dose of complete health. And I wanted to go through something today after having such an amazing day in someone else's practice and just feeling a completely different energy to my own practice. Now, I love my practice, but it is one of those things that when you get to go and see what someone else is doing in their practice and see how much fun they're having, how much fun you can have with their clients as well. So I was working in an open plan practice, which is just one room. So those photos that, if any of you saw them on our Facebook wall yesterday, I posted some photos of me covering a practice in Crawley. It was one room, the reception area, the tables and the patients and the waiting room are all in the same space. The only thing that really divides them are little dividers in the room. And so there's this really open, energetic space within that clinic that I was working in yesterday. And it made me really think of a question that actually quite a lot of the time I notice people really struggle with energy. People really struggle with their energy throughout the day. Quite a lot of the time they're feeling tired, they're feeling run down, they're feeling sleepy, they're getting to after lunch and having to constantly reach for the coffee every 15 minutes just to kind of get them through the day. And it made me ask the question, like, why do people feel such low energy? And interestingly enough, I've been reading a lot of books on nutrition and diet at the moment. And one of the biggest causes of disease within the 21st century now is our diet. So I wanted to go through a couple of the main causes of not feeling energetic enough. So number one, probably the most obvious is people are not getting good sleep. Really, the recommendations on sleep are around 6, really minimum 7. But for older populations, 6 is generally enough. But between 7.5 and 8 hours is really kind of the minimum requirement that most people's bodies will need. Now, obviously this varies, but generally as a rule of thumb, it shouldn't really be any less than 7 hours. Now, people that tell me that they can't sleep for 7 hours are normally not setting up good sleep hygiene, or they've got a problem in one of these other 2 areas that we're going to cover in a minute. But by making sure you block all the light in your room and you set yourself up for a really good night's sleep, there shouldn't really be any reason why we do not sleep for 7 hours a night, unless you're physically just not giving yourself the right amount of time. So number 2, now this is probably the most interesting one, and probably the one that most of us struggle with the most because it's so confusing, which is diet. Now, diet has been shown to have a huge impact on certain hormones within our body. Now, the main one that most people will probably be aware of is insulin. And a lot of people are actually not so aware of this, that insulin can have a huge impact on the way that our body works, not just on our blood glucose, which is what most people think, but when we start not regulating our insulin well, it can start to have an effect on our brain and our muscles and our weight regulation, our kidneys, our liver, and all of these different hormones within our body are there for the role of metabolizing and keeping functions going, including hormone regulation. And if your body is having to fight to keep those situations running, it's going to be using up a lot of its energy. And as a result, you then do not have that same volume of energy to then cope with the activities of daily living. So eating properly, but also setting up the times that you eat can be a massive difference. Now, what we've found is that actually if we want to regulate our insulin much better, we need to limit certain types of food, especially sugary foods, very high fat foods on a regular basis, ultra processed foods, but actually also restricting the times that we eat can make a massive difference so we don't have that constant surge in our blood sugars. And number 3, now this is one that probably most people do not think of in most areas, and that is mental stress. Being exposed to mental stress or doing things or being part of a job that you physically do not like has a huge impact on your energy. Actually going and working in this practice yesterday was great fun. Why? Because it was completely different to what I'm used to. And because it was completely different to what I was used to, it was great energy for me, and I had a lot of fun. So just a few hints: work on your energy, work on your stress levels, work on your sleep, work on your diet, and see how that starts to make a difference for your energy. And I can guarantee if you can fix those 3 things, you'll feel different from tomorrow. Patrick here from Complete Health. This is your daily dose. I'll speak to you soon.